Hey there, lovely listeners. It's me, G, back with another episode of The Stuff You Should Think About. If you're driving, walking, or just sipping coffee while you listen, welcome to your little mental pit stop. Today, we're diving into a question that feels a little like a secret handshake among all of us. Why do we procrastinate? That's right. Why do we put off the important stuff even when we know we should do it? Spoiler alert. Our brains aren't lazy. They're just incredibly clever and a bit complicated. Picture this. It's 8 a.m. on a Tuesday. Your inbox pings. A big project deadline. It looms at 5 p.m. You sit down, open the document, and boom. Your mind jumps to the 12-minute YouTube video about how squirrels plan their winter stash. Suddenly, 3 hours have vanished, and you're left staring at a half-finished outline, feeling guilty, frustrated, maybe a little ashamed. If that scenario sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, a 2022 Gallup poll found that 84% of adults admit to procrastinating at least once a week. And yet, we're quick to label ourselves lazy or undisciplined, as if the brain were a simple on-off switch. But here's the optimistic twist. Procrastination is a signal. It tells us something valuable about how we're processing tasks, emotions, and motivation. So, in this episode, I'm going to unpack 3 layers. Number 1, the brain's wiring. What neuroscience tells us about why the ladder button feels so tempting. Number 2, the emotional economy. How fear, perfectionism, and reward systems play with our sense of self. Number 3, practical feel-good tools. Simple evidence-based tweaks that turn procrastination from a roadblock into a springboard. Grab a notebook or that doodle pad you keep under your coffee mug. Let's turn this mental maze into a clear, bright hallway. First, let's talk biology. I love a good brain story because it reminds me that our thoughts aren't random. They're the product of millions of years of evolution. The key players in the procrastination drama are 3 regions. Prefrontal cortex. Its primary function is planning, decision-making, impulse control. It relates to procrastination. The executive that says, start now. When it's fatigued, we default to easier, more rewarding actions. The amygdala. Its primary function is emotional processing. especially fear and anxiety. It fires up when a task feels threatening, pushing us toward avoidance. The stratum, which is part of the basal ganglia, reward prediction, habit formation, craves immediate pleasure, the YouTube video, over delayed payoff, the finished project. The present bias circuit. Our brains are wired for present bias, the tendency to overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue future gains. Evolutionarily, that makes sense, and our ancestors needed to react quickly to food, predators, and mates. The striatum releases dopamine when we do something enjoyable. Right now, reinforcing that behavior. A short, funny clip gives a dopamine hit. A 5-hour report, not so much. The prefrontal cortex is a fuel-hungry organ. It uses glucose at a higher rate than other brain areas. When we're low on sleep, hungry, or stressed, the PFC's capacity shrinks. Think of it as a dimming light bulb. In that dim state, the amygdala's alarm bells get louder, and the stratum's shortcut gets louder too. The result, we gravitate towards low effort, high reward activities. Hello, procrastination. The fear avoidance loop. When a task feels risky, whether it's fear of failure, perfectionism, or simply unknown territory, the amygdala fires. It tells the body, stay alert, avoid. That physical response, increased heart rate, shallow breathing, is uncomfortable. Our brain then looks for an easy escape route, which often lands us on social media scroll. The optimistic takeaway. None of this is a moral failing. It's simply a set of mechanisms that have kept our species alive for millennia. The good news, we can coach these systems with the right strategies, just like we train a muscle. The emotional economy. Now that we've mapped the hardware, let's explore the software. Our feelings. Procrastination is rarely just about time management. It's a conversation between our emotions and our goals. The fear of imperfection. Many of us whisper, if I'm not perfect, it's not worth doing. That's perfectionism in disguise. An inner critic that tricks the amygdala into thinking a task is a threat. The brain, seeking safety, says, let's avoid the potential pain of a bad outcome. The result, we postpone the work, hoping the pressure will disappear. Spoiler, it usually doesn't. When we imagine finishing a big project, the reward feels abstract. A good grade, a satisfied boss, a sense of accomplishment. The Those are delayed outcomes. In contrast, checking a funny meme offers an instant reward. Our brain's dopamine system is much more responsive to immediate gratification, so the gap widens, making the temptation to delay even stronger. Self-compassion versus self-criticism. If we're harsh on ourselves, after a bout of procrastination, the amygdala's alarm intensifies, fueling a negative feedback cycle. Think of it like an angry dog that keeps barking. The more you shout, the louder it gets. By contrast, practicing self-compassion, telling yourself, it's okay, I'm human, let's try again, lowers amygdala activity and re-engages the prefrontal cortex. The optimistic takeaway is emotions are not obstacles, they're information. When we listen to what our anxiety, fear, or excitement is saying, we can redesign the task to feel safer, more rewarding, and therefore more doable. All right, let's get to the juicy part. Actionable, optimistic tools. Below are 6 evidence-based strategies that I've tried, I've tested, and I love sharing with friends and my own cat, who insist on sitting on my laptop when I try to work. Chunk it like a puzzle. The science. The prefrontal cortex loves clear, small steps. When a task is broken into bite-sized pieces, the perceived difficulty drops, and dopamine releases with each tiny win. How to do it? Number 1, identify the outcome. E.g., write a 5-page report. Number 2, split it into 4 to 6 subtasks. It can be an outline. You can research 2 sources, write an intro, draft a body, edit. Number 3, set micro deadlines. 15 minutes for an outline. My tip is use a timer. The Pomodoro. 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break. The timer gives the brain a concrete start cue and a built-in reward, the break. Visualize the future feelings, the science. The brain's reward system responds more vivid mental images than abstract ideas. When we imagine how we'll feel after completing a task, relief pride, and freedom, the future reward becomes more immediate. How to do it? Close your eyes for a minute. Picture yourself crossing the finish line. Feel the weight lift off your shoulders. Hear the congratulatory nod from a colleague. Let that feeling linger. Then jump into the first step. Practice strategic distraction. The science. Completely blanding distractions overloads the amygdala, which rebels with stronger cravings. Instead, give the brain a scheduled sweet spot for indulgence. How to do it? After a Pomodoro session, allow a 5-minute guilt-free scroll of your favorite feed. Knowing you might have a planned break reduces the urge to sneak one mid-task. Reframe the task as identity-based. The science. The prefrontal cortex is motivated by self-concept. If a task aligns with who we see ourselves as, it gains intrinsic motivation. How do we do it? Instead of, I need to write this report, say, I'm a creator who shares insights that help others. Write that affirmation on a sticky note near your monitor. Implement micro commitments. The science. Commitment devices tap into loss aversion. The brain hates losing something it already pledged. A tiny upfront commitment makes it physiologically costly to bag out. How to do it? A public promise. Text a friend, I'll finish the first draft by 2 p.m. Physical deposit. Put $1 in a jar. If you miss the deadline, donate it. The tiny size keeps it realistic, but the psychological impact is huge. Cultivate a beginner's mind. The science. The amygdala spikes when we anticipate failure. Approaching a task with curiosity, as if we're learning something new, reduces threat perception. How to do it? Ask yourself, what can I discover about this topic? Or, what fun experiment can I try while researching? Shift from, I must get it perfect, to, I get to explore. Here's a quick recap. The strategies, why they work, and one-liner implementations. Chunk it, reduces cognitive overload. Break big into 5-minute bites. Future feelings, makes reward vivid. Visual post-completion, joy. Strategic distraction, satisfies craving on schedule. 5-minute scroll after each Pomodoro. Identity-based. Aligns tasks with self-image. I'm a storyteller, not a reporter. Micro commitments leverages loss aversion. Text a friend, done by 3. Beginner's mind lowers threat perception. Ask, what's new here? Bonus, the 2-minute rule, a quick optimistic nudge. If a task can be started or finished in 2 minutes or less, do it right now. It's a tiny win that fuels the dopamine engine, paving the way for larger work. Even if the task is bigger, committing to just open the document often breaks the inertia. Optimistic lens. Procrastination is a signal, not a sin. Each of these tools is a conversation with your brain saying, I see you, I hear you, and I'm here to help you thrive. The next time you feel the latter button buzzing, try one of these tweaks. You'll be amazed how quickly the mental fog lifts. Let me share a quick story that illustrates the power of these ideas. A few months ago, I had to write a 12-page white paper for a client. I stared at a blank screen for 2 days. My mind kept looping. What if it's not good enough? What if I'm missing something crucial? The amygdala was on overdrive. The PFC was stuck in sleep mode. I applied the chunk method. I created a simple table, title, abstract, intro, 3 subsections, conclusion, references. Each cell became a 30-minute Pomodoro. I also sent a quick text to my friend. The intro is done by 11. Promise. The little accountability felt like a friendly nudge rather than pressure. While writing the first subsection, I imagined the moment my client would read the finished work. Relief in their voice, a grin on their face. Their visual feeling gave me a tiny dopamine burst that made the next page feel less heavy. The result, I finished the paper 48 hours earlier than I thought possible. My brain felt celebrated. I realized that the procrastination loop wasn't a personal flaw. It was a misaligned system that I could re-engineer. If you're skeptical, try one tiny experiment this week. Pick a dreaded task, break it into 3 micro steps, and commit to a 2-minute start. Notice how the mental resistance shifts. My bet, you'll feel a spark of optimism you didn't expect. Let me bring this full circle. Procrastination isn't about laziness. It's a message from a brain that's juggling survival instincts, rewarding circuits, and emotional safety nets. By understanding the science, honoring our feelings, and using simple, optimistic strategies, we can transform that message into a roadmap for progress. Remember these guiding principles. Respect the brain's wiring. Don't fight the dopamine. Redirect it. Validate the emotions. Fear, perfectionism, and fatigue are clues, not enemies. Take tiny, joyful actions. The smallest forward step fuels momentum far more than the biggest daunting leap. I hope today's episode gives you a fresh perspective on those moments when you find yourself scrolling instead of writing, later instead of now. The next time you feel that tug, think of it as your brain waving a flag saying, hey, I need a little help. And you have the tools to answer. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please rate, review, and share the podcast with someone who might be wrestling with procrastination. Your support helps me keep the podcast on and optimism flowing. I'm G, signing off from the Stuff You Should Think About podcast. Until next time, be kind to your brain, celebrate the tiny wins, and keep pondering the stuff that matters.